It's Real Fit Radio with B
and J.LOU.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. No name.
Find the beauty, huh? Find something, a silver lining.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely have to.
I think that's one of our previous podcasts, Win the Day.
Yep, we did talk about that.
Winning the day. We're going to jump right into the meat and the potatoes of this podcast. Spiritual growth. What is it? What does it look like? And will it feel good?
Not all the time. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah?
Oh, no.
I always think of spiritual growth sometimes when you hear people say, turn the other cheek and do this. It's like, well, is that really spiritual growth, or is that you just like refraining from going crazy? I don't think that has anything to do with spiritual growth. I think that's just like me exacerbating this problem. If, me doing this is going to make it worse and I could end up in a bad situation. I don't want to do that. Is that really spiritual growth? I've been thinking about these things. What are your thoughts on that?
It does not always feel good. But what does it look like? It's going through life. Well, for me, let me preface that. For me, it's going through life, experiencing all types of situations, and from those situations, gathering information that's going to help you get better. And in those times, it may be something great, or it may be something that hurt. It just depends, but it's all for the greater good. I believe in God, so I spend a lot of time having a conversation with God, or allowing Him to talk to me, to give me the right information to be able to grow. Things that I do not understand, I ask and seek wisdom and guidance on things I may be confused about. Some areas where I continue to make the same mistake and I'm not understanding why I'm making the same mistake. That's why it doesn't always feel good. It doesn't necessarily mean that, it's horrible, but I'm a person of perfection like most people, but I understand that never can be achieved, but you can strive for it. So when I'm in a situation where I'm doing it over and over and over again, and I keep making the same mistake, and I cannot discover the answer for myself, that's spiritual guidance or spiritual growth for me, because in those times, God delivers those answers for me, or He sends people to me through maybe B or even a stranger to give me the answer that I didn't know for myself. So that's one thing I feel like that's a spiritual growth, or what it looks like, or what it feels like to me. It's always trying to discover the answer to these problems that occur, and also paying attention to things that has not occurred yet. But you ever felt like you was in a situation, or not even a situation, but you ever felt like it was a time in your life where you didn't know why something was happening and you've never seen it before, and it's not bad. It just means like, this is interesting. Like, I've never seen this before, and why is it happening now? And that moment, that's another thing that I feel is a spiritual growth situation, because in your life, you're supposed to go through these phases where you at one stage and you go to another. Nobody comes to earth, or nobody was born to continue to be the same person they were the day before. I mean, a child doesn't come into this world and never learn how not to walk. So as you grow and mature, you get older, you're supposed to gain this information to where what you were doing in your 20s, you should not be doing in your 30s, and so forth. So in those moments in your life when it's like something that's occurring, you never seen it before, nobody else that you talk to seen it before, and it's specifically for you, that's a moment where it's like, okay, maybe I'm getting prepared for something that I'm going to see down the line. And then when you see that thing down the line, if you really paid attention and you really was like, okay, I don't know what this is, God, but guide me, and you allow that to happen, when the time comes for that information that you had no idea what it was being exposed to you for in that moment, it now makes sense. So those are two of the things I feel like that is spiritual growth, or what it looks like for me.
Okay, almost seizing the opportunity for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. opportunity for spiritual growth. Well, I thought mine was so short. That's why I wanted to, that's why I asked you. For me, spiritual growth is seizing the opportunity to bring my flesh under submission and to implement some of these spiritual principles I read or hear or say that I'm going to practice. And now a quick moment from our sponsor, Journey of a Legend.
You. Yeah, you. What's your passion? Purpose. Every day you try, you succeed. The time is now. Journey of a Legend. It starts with you.
If you want to learn more or purchase merchandise, go to www.journeyofalegend.com. You know how you say, oh yeah, it says be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. A soft reply rebukes wrath. You're reading all that to feed your spirit. But when a situation arises and your flesh is like, what the fuck did you say to me? It's like, where's that spiritual principle?
Yeah.
So
easy to say.
Right. So it's an opportunity for spiritual growth to implement what you've been feeding yourself spiritually. And no, it does not feel good. That's why I ask you to, what are your thoughts on it? Because it's so satisfying sometimes in the flesh for me to just let you have it, or for me just to do something I know opposite of the spiritual principle I've read and I have a desire or I've said I'm going to implement. So it looks like discipline. It looks like having to go the different route, go left, not right. You're not doing what the masses may be doing, things like that. That's what spiritual growth looks like for me. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So that's where, it doesn't feel good, all the time. I think as you grow and it becomes second nature to you, or you're stronger spiritually, it does feel a little different because you understand what comes with that. Where much is given, much is required. So you implementing that spiritual principle, it's a different type of satisfaction or gratification that you get from it. It is fulfilling because this is something you desire to do. This is how you want to live and be stronger spiritually. And it requires discipline, and that can be a bit frustrating sometimes because we walk around in our flesh 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with all this stuff going on outside of it, and it's getting fed. Your spirit doesn't get fed like that.
Well, it's definitely no different than anything else we do in life. It's repetition. The only way you can grow is through repetition and practice. That whole, I'm going to spend one day and get everything I can in this one day and think that's going to allow you to sustain for the next 6 days of your life. That's not going to work. You're going to get beat the fuck down. It just point blank period. There's no ways around that. So every day you have to do something that's going to strengthen your spirit. And that can be a plethora of things. So like you said, it doesn't revolve around just going to, church on Sunday. And that's a great thing, might I add. But you have to do other things that allow you to be able to get that consistent nourishment for you to be able to identify when the times where you can see growth, because that's huge too. Identifying those times, like you were saying earlier about, oh yeah, I read this, I study this, and it says be slow to anger and all that stuff. And then you get out there and then it's a opportunity that presents itself for you to be slow in your anger, and soft reply rebukes wrath. And the first time somebody goes off on you, you off with their fucking head. Nah, you got me. So you going off the hinge. So you have to identify those times where it gives you the opportunity to grow, and you have to consistently practice at giving yourself that nourishment.
Think of spiritual growth as water. We drink it. We need it. If you just stop drinking water, you'll die at some point. So it's water. That's how I look at it. And I think the more you get yourself on track, conditioning yourself, good habits. They don't just happen. You create them and you replace good habits with bad habits. So if you react this way in the flesh, or this is the easiest thing to do, what would the harder thing to do in this situation? For me to be quiet, for me to remove myself, it's different all the time. But when you feed yourself, you got some options.
Yeah, you have a couple of them. Whichever one works for you, you do that, and you do it consistently.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggested topics, or you want to keep this conversation going, you can shoot us an email at realfitradio@gmail.com. Our podcast drops every Monday. You can catch a snippet of any of our latest on our Instagram at realfitradio. If you're not following us, you definitely should be. As always, we hope this inspired, impacted, or empowered someone. Until next time.